Okay, welcome everyone. It's 5:30, so the declaration of opening is made for tonight's Ordinary Council meeting. Just a quick brief, this is a decision-making night for anyone watching online. So we had the forum last week where we had question and answers. We've got decisions to be made on every item that's in front of us. There's a little bit of a question and answer as the items, if there's any new items that are being presented, which there is, or amended items. And there's two spots where members of the public can participate, so I'll instruct anyone at that point in time. So that's item number one, declarations at 5:30. Item number two is opening procedures. So acknowledgement of country is 2.1. So the Shire of Northern would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians on the land on which we meet, and that is both the Ballabong and Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation, and we pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging. Item number two is recording of council minutes. Members of council and members of the gallery are advised that this meeting is being live streamed and audio recorded, and it's made available on the Shire of Northern's YouTube channel. If members of the public would like to have access to the recording of this meeting, they can do so via the Shire of Northern website. Item number three is attendance. We have the councillors that's sitting around the table. And I'll go from left to right as normal, and then I'll go to apologies just after that. So we have Councillor Biglan, Councillor Gierak, Councillor Williams, Councillor Mencelli, President Antonio, Councillor Polton, Councillor Hughes. We have the staff. We have the Chief Executive Officer, Ms. Terrelli, Executive Manager Engineering Services, Mr. Devsich, Executive Manager Development and Community Services, Mr. Hunt, Executive Manager Corporate Services, Mr. Young, Manager Governance and Risk Acting, Ms. Van Beek, and Governance Officer Acting is Ms. Norwich. So we have item 3.2 is apologies. We have an apology from Councillor Appleton and an apology from Councillor Ryan. So we go to item 3.4, absent, that is nil. So then we go to page 8, which is item number 4, disclosure of interest. And we have a number, so anyone watching, I will just go through a summary, and as the item comes up, I'll remind everyone of the declaration of interest. So we have item 13.3.2, which is Walk of Fame inductees. President Antonio, that's myself, declared impartiality. Some of the nominees are known to President Antonio. Councillor Gierak has declared impartiality. Several nominators and nominees of the Walk of Fame are known to Councillor Gierak. Also, some of the nominees are on the NACHA committee, which Councillor Gierak is a member of. Councillor Hughes has declared impartiality. A number of the nominees are known to Councillor Hughes. One is a relative. Same item, Councillor Mencelli has declared impartiality. Some of the people nominated are known to Councillor Mencelli. Councillor Polton has declared impartiality. Some nominees are known to Councillor Polton. And Councillor Williams has declared impartiality. Some of the nominees are known to Councillor Williams. We have item 13.1.2, which is request for rent waiver. Lease agreement for a portion of 2 Grey Street Northern. Councillor Williams has declared impartiality. The proponent of being Northern Entertainment Group is known to Councillor Williams through Northern Chamber of Commerce Board membership. So item 13.3.3 is Development and Community Services Policies. Councillor Williams has declared impartiality. Councillor Williams is an executive member of Bakers Hill Progress Association who may benefit from these policies. Members of other associations are known to Councillor Williams. Fees and charges 2025-26, item 13.4.1. Councillor Biglan has declared impartiality. Councillor Biglan is the Secretary Treasurer of Wundarri Progress Association. Members of the Silver Wings Group are known to Councillor Biglan, and Taekwondo Group are also known to Councillor Biglan. Councillor Williams has declared impartiality. It's still item 13.4.1. Councillor Williams is a member of Bakers Hill Progress Association who leases the Bakers Hill Recreation Centre. Item 14.1 is behind closed doors, so I'll deal with that as we get to that item. And I believe that's all the declarations I have at this stage. So councillors are well aware that they can make a declaration before we discuss and make a decision on the item. We are now on page 10, which is announcements by the presiding member without discussion. So that is taken as read. Then we go to page 12. So item number 6 is public questions. There are no members of the public to ask questions, so that is nil. Item number 7 is response to previous public questions taken on notice. That is nil. Item number 8 is receiving of petitions, presentations and deputations. 8.1 petitions is nil. 8.2 presentations is nil. 8.3 deputation. There has been no member of the public requesting to make a deputation, so that is nil. Then we go to page 13, which is item number 9, applications for leave of absence. That is nil. Item number 10 is confirmation of minutes. 10.1 is confirmation of minutes from the ordinary council meeting held 28th of May 2025. There was no questions or queries on this last week. Councillor Hughes is moving, Councillor Moncelli is seconding. Anyone likely to speak against? So all those in favour by a show of hands? That's 7-0, that's carried. Then we have on the same page item 10.2, which is notes from the council forum meeting held 11th of June 2025, still on page 13. I will allow councillors to ask questions or see if there's any queries, as this is a new item tonight. So there's no queries or questions, so there's a recommendation here that we, as presented. Councillor Gierek is moving, Councillor Moncelli is seconding. Anyone likely to speak against? So all those in favour by a show of hands? That's 7-0, that's carried. We then go to page 36. So item number 11 is items brought forward for the convenience of those in the public gallery. There are no items, so we continue on to page 37. So item number 12 is reports of committee meetings. 12.1 is the Audit and Risk Management Committee meeting held 20th of May 2025. The first one is the receipt of the minutes. Councillor Gierek is moving. Councillor Polton is seconding. Anyone likely to speak against receipt of the minutes? So all those in favour by a show of hands? That's 7-0, that's carried. And then we have the adoption of recommendations as written, and that's starting on page 37. Councillor Moncelli is moving. Councillor Gierek is seconding. Anyone likely to speak against? So all those in favour by a show of hands? That's 7-0, that's carried. We now go to page 39. So item 13 is officer reports. 13.1 is the CEO's office. 13.1.1 is adoption of CP.61 privacy information handling and breach of information policy, and there's a recommendation on page 42. Question, Councillor Polton?
Just regarding to point 3.2, storage of personal information. Can I please get some clarification on where overseas and what data is stored overseas? No.
If any data is stored overseas. Do you know that, Mr. Yard?
Well, we wouldn't have any data stored overseas at the moment,
That's answered the question, Councillor Paul. So recommendations on page 42. Councillor Hughes is moving. Councillor Moncelli is seconding. Anyone likely to speak against? So all those in favour by a show of hands? That's 7-0, that's carried. We then go to page 60. So this is item 13.1.2, request for rent waiver, lease agreement for a portion of 2 Grey Street Northam. As Councillor Williams has declared an impartiality interest in this item, Councillor Williams declares that this will be considered, there will be a considered matter on its merit and will vote accordingly. Now this is a new item, Councillor, so I just wanted to see if there was any questions on this before we get to the recommendation. Questions or clarifications? No, so there's a recommendation on page 63. I'll move the recommendation. Councillor Mancelli moved and Councillor Hughes seconded. Is there anyone going to speak against that item, the recommendation? If not, I'll put that to the vote by a show of hands. That's 7-0, that's carried. We now go to page 66. So item 13.2 is engineering services. That is nil. Item 13.3 is development and community services. 13.3.1 is development application P25036, expansion of peak power plant. There's a recommendation on page 68 and there's a question and answers provided. Councillor Williams is moving. Councillor Poulton is seconding. Anyone likely to speak against? So all those in favour by a show of hands. That's 7-0, that's carried. We now go to page 137. So this is 13.3.2, Walk of Fame inductees. Now, as President Antonio and Councillors Gierak, Hughes, Mancelli, Poulton and Williams have all declared an impartiality interest in this item and declared that they'll consider the matter on its merit and vote accordingly. So we had the recommendation is on page 141. So there's a recommendation there or as presented. Moving to second to Councillor Poulton. Councillor Mancelli is seconding. Is there anyone going to speak against this? No, so all those in favour by a show of hands. That's 6. All those against, that's 1. That's carried 6-1. We now go to page 172. So this is item 13.3.3, Development and Community Services Policies. Just a reminder that Councillor Williams declared impartiality in this item, and as Councillor Williams has declared an impartiality interest in this item, declares that, and I don't like using the word she, but she will consider the matter on its merit and vote accordingly. Apologies, Councillor, you can't word that matter.
Oh, I'm fine with that.
And then just as councillors, this was raised last week, you'll just see on the board. I think Councillor Williams, you asked this question about the titles of it. So is that correct?
No, the change is actually to the frequency of the grant, so there was a minor error. So it actually should say that the application rounds are assessed 4 times a year, not open 4 times a year.
Yeah. Okay, so apologies, it was just the staff, the officers picked this up. So all councillors are aware of what the recommendation reads as now. So I just wanted to check, was there any queries or clarifications on that? Councillor Guerra?
Just in regards to policy or don't record, applications can be submitted throughout the year, or so they continuously open for submission, but the assessment is 4 times a year.
Yes, that's correct. So the applications will be open all year round, but we'll do assessments 4 times a year. It just streamlines the administration of them.
But not standing.
So any further questions or clarifications on that as written? So the recommendation is on page 180. Up there, Councillor Mancelli is moving, Councillor Poulton is seconding. Anyone likely to speak against? So all those in favour by a show of hands. That's 7-0, that's carried. We now go to page 225. So item 13.4, corporate services. 13.4.1, fees and charges 2025-26. Councillors Biglin and Williams have declared an impartiality interest in this item and declare that they will consider the matter on its merit and vote accordingly. So there's a recommendation on page 231.
Move that.
Councillor Hughes is moving. Councillor Gierak is seconding. Anyone likely to speak against? So all those in favour by a show of hands? That's 7-0, that's carried. We now go to page 259, which is item 13.4.2, advertising of 2025-26 differential rates. The recommendation is on page 260, I believe.
Zero.
Recommendation
Down here.
So 264, my apologies, here, 264. Recommendation on page 264.
I'll move the recommendation.
Councillor Mencheli is moving, Councillor Hughes is seconding. Anyone likely to speak against? So all those in favour by a show of hands? That's 7-0, that's carried. We now go to page 266. So 13.4.3 is accounts and statement of accounts, May 2025. Recommendations on page 268. Question, Councillor Gierak?
Thank you, Mr. President. Just in regards to the field payments for this term, I noticed that it's double. Is it because we missed the payment last month? So what is the reason for it's for 2 months, March and April, and I noticed that in the previous statements it's generally just 1 month.
They do tend out to the statements halfway through a month, and we have 2 statements for the Dunnings and for the next, but quite often 2 coming out of the month that they hit through.
Thank you.
So, question, thank you for that. So there's a recommendation on page 268. Councillor Gierak is moving. Councillor Mencheli is seconding. Anyone likely to speak against? So all those in favour by a show of hands? That's 7-0, that's carried. And then we go to page 332. So 13.4.4 is financial statements for the period ending 31 May 2025. There's a recommendation on page 335. Councillor Polton is moving. Councillor Hughes is seconding. Anyone likely to speak against? So all those in favour by a show of hands? That's 7-0, that's carried. Then we go to page 356. So item number 14 is matters behind closed doors. We have a recommendation there. Councillor Gierak is moving. Councillor Mencheli is seconding. I will put that straight to the vote. So all those in favour by a show of hands? That's 7-0, that's carried. So we've just done So with regard to item 14.1, disposal of a portion of 33 Wellington Street Northern, there's a recommendation that Council 1 endorses the disposal of a portion of 33 Wellington Street Northern as highlighted on attachment 14.1.3 through private treaty to Jupiter Health and Medical Services Limited for $400,000 plus GST, subject to A, the successful completion of the subdivision to excise the land that is subject of the sale. B, the Shire of Northern shall be responsible for all costs associated with the subdivision process. C, each party shall bear their own legal and settlement costs relating to the transaction. D, a caveat be registered on the certificate of title for the retained portion of 33 Wellington Street Northern in favour of Jupiter Health and Medical Services Limited to provide for shared access and use of infrastructure, car park in brackets. Item 2, authorises the Chief Executive Officer to give local public notice of the proposed disposition in accordance with section 3.58 in brackets 3 of the Local Government Act 1995, including details of the proposed purchaser, consideration and market valuation. B, conclude the sale following close of the public submission period, provided no submissions are received that require further consideration by Council. Number 3, notes that if any public submissions are received objecting to the proposed disposition, the matter will be referred back to Council for further consideration. 4, includes an allocation of $13,000 for consideration in the 2025-26 budget for the subdivision and disposal costs associated with the disposal. Item 14.2, amendment of reserve purpose and grant of lease for a car park that is reserved 27147, which is 392 Fitzgerald Street West Northern. The recommendation, sorry, just the other one was carried, just for information, 5.2. So 14.2, amendment of reserve purpose and grant of lease for a car park reserved 27147, 392 Fitzgerald Street West Northern. The recommendation was carried 7-0. That Council 1 requests the Minister for Lands to A, amend the purpose of reserve 27147 to include car parking, and B, approve the proposed lease of reserve 27147 under section 18 of the Land Administration Act 1997. Then 2, approves the lease of reserve 27147 to the adjoining landowner of 380 Fitzgerald Street West Northern for a term of 5 years with a further 5 years renewal option, subject to the following conditions. A, the Minister for Lands amending the reserve purpose and approving the lease under section 18 of the Land Administration Act 1997. B, development approval being obtained within 12 months from the commencement of the lease for the proposed car park, including any required stormwater management measures to protect the Shire's drainage infrastructure. C, the rental be set in accordance with market value. D, the cost to undertake the market valuation being the responsibility of the lessee. E, public advertising of the proposed lease in accordance with section 3.58 of the Local Government Act 1995 and no submission being received during the submission period. F, all costs associated with the construction, approvals and establishment of the car park being borne by the lessee. And G, the ongoing maintenance and operational costs of the car park being the full responsibility of the lessee for the duration of the lease. H, all other items and conditions being in accordance with CP.58, property management, in brackets, leases and licenses, close bracket, section 8.3. Item 3, authorises the Chief Executive Officer to finalise and execute the lease in accordance with the above conditions, subject to no objections being received during the public advertising period. Thank you. So that is those items 14.1 and 14.2. We have item 15, motions of which previous notice has been given, is nil. Item 16, urgent business approved by decision, that is nil. Item number 17 is declaration of closure, which is made at 6:15 p.m. I'd like to thank all councillors for your input and questions, all officers for your professional reports and answers to our queries. Thank you all very much.